So today's day and date. Sorry, question number is 7. Question 7. I hope everybody has the question. April 20th transaction we are doing. Ramesh settled his account by issuing check including rupees 60 for interest, 12,080. Now see, let's see Ramesh ka account was how much? Ramesh account was, first of all, it was 1% discount also we had given. So you have to tell me the transaction. 11,880. Okay, and it included interest of 120, right? 120 was the discount, sorry. Okay, and then so discount we had taken back. Plus 20 rupees were for the bank charges. See, this was the total amount due from Ramesh. Okay, and 20 rupees bank charges also we are going to ask him to pay. Okay, I hope everybody had done this question. Okay, some people were absent, some students were absent in the last class. So I'll just tell you what was there in question. This Ramesh was our debtor. Ramesh was our debtor. Okay, for how much amount? He was a debtor for 12,000. So then he's making a payment and we are giving him a discount of 120. So he gave us a check of 11,880. Okay. Now this check was dishonored. This was the check we might have, the payment we had received from him. And then this check got dishonored. Okay, this check got dishonored. So we had to pay 20 rupees as the bank charges. So we are not, we are going to ask Vanto, we are going to disallow this interest which we had given it to him. Okay, plus the original amount which he had to pay, 11,880. So 12,000 plus 20 rupees bank charges also we are going to charge from him. Okay, and plus 60 rupees interest we are charging from him. Why? Because he made delay in the payment, so we lost the interest of that period. Okay, so in total, he became our debtor now for how much? 12,080. And that is why he is giving us this check of 12,080. Okay, are the amounts clear? 11,880 plus the discount which we had given him earlier will be disallowed. We are not going to give him any discount. And then 20 rupees for the bank charges and 60 for the interest. So total he has become our debtor for 1280. Okay, now how entry we are going to pass, this is important. Okay, so we are going to put the entry as bank account debit 12,080 to interest 60 and to Ramesh 12,020. Okay, this is the entry. And then the entry before it, this is your entry of April 20. Okay, now what you have to give the entry for April 9. April 9 ka entry dekhiye. That we'll have to give as Ramesh account debit to whatever entry you have written. Now please just see that this entry was same or not. This is the correct entry. Because once they have given us this information, we came to know that the bank charges we are going to ultimately charge from him. Okay. So to Ramesh account debit to bank would be and to discount allowed. Discount allowed was 120 and this would be 12,020. And to bank would be 11,900. This would be the correct entry. Okay, April 9 entry, whatever you had written that day. Did we write the same entry that day? In another column. Okay, so final effect was this only. Only we had written Ramesh to bank charges to Ramesh to bank charges. Okay, to bank, and then ultimately we'll have to transfer it to Ramesh. Now with reference to April 20th entry, this is the entry which you have to pass, bacho. Okay, Ashmit, Aditya, the late joinees. We are doing this question number 7, April 9 transaction. Please take it down in April 20 transaction. These both transactions are important. A bit complicated, but you have to understand. One thing is when a check, please very important thing I'm telling you. See, write it in a cloud. I'll show you the previous slide again. First, write this. When check received from a debtor is dishonored. Debit the debtor and credit bank. Okay, so we have to reduce our bank balance, and debtor who we have to again make him our debtor. Okay. Any bank charges paid by us will be recovered from the debtor only. Okay, so obviously this also will be added in his bill only. 20 rupees which we had to pay at that moment to the banker, we'll ultimately add it to his bill amount only. So, and one more thing, number 1, number 2, and number 3. Any discount allowed to such debtor earlier will be reversed. Okay, this is important. So if I had given discount to my debtor because he was making a prompt payment, but as a prompt payment kiya gaya, his check got dishonored. So there is no use in giving discount to such a person. Okay, so I'll take it back. Right, Anvesha? So the check which the debtor gave us got dishonored. जिससे हम check bounce होना बोलते हैं. Okay, check got bounced, no? That means it was not honored, it was not paid. So any discount allowed earlier will be reversed. We are not going to give him any discount. So that is why 120 rupees, which we gave him as discount earlier, we have taken it back. Bank charges of 20 rupees in this particular case. Okay, discount allowed was 120, bank charges was 20, will be charged from him only. So his original amount was 12,000 plus 20 rupees for the bank charges plus 60 rupees for the interest. So total now we are asking for 12,080 from him. Okay, and then that check he is giving us. So interest over here has been credited because that is an income for us. The interest which our debtor is paying to us is income for us. And that is why the income, we know revenues and the incomes and the gains are credited, right? Okay. So these entries, if you think a little bit, you will be able to do it. Okay, but you will have to, think over it logically. Right around. So it is the check we are talking about, the dishonor of. Now, April 21. Coming to the next transaction, April 21. cash directly deposited by Raja customer in bank account. Okay, so that is a simple entry. Bank account debit to Raja. Okay, bank account debit to Raja will be the entry 8,008. Right? This is simple. April 23. Okay, Vidita, would you try April 23? Okay, anybody would like to try this entry? April 23, raise your hands. Nobody. No, bank draft is through bank account only, bacho. Bank draft got issued in favor of Messrs. Lal and Son and bank charges 700. So the total entry would be bank account won't be debited. It would be bank charges account debited. Okay, bank charges is an expense. Okay, bank charges is an expense for us. And why are we paying? Why do you think we are paying or we are giving a draft to Messrs. Lal and Sons? Why should we give to anybody? Because probably he was our creditor. Okay, so we have he is being made the payment, so he will be debited. Messrs. Lal and Sons account debit to bank. So to bank, we are paying total 5,700. 5,000 we had to pay to Messrs. Lal, and 700 was the bank charges, which is our expense. Okay, so we know we have to debit the receiver. Okay, so receiver, you can, even if you go by the personal account rule, debit the receiver. So who's the receiver? Messrs. Lal. Credit the giver. Who's the giver? Bank. Okay. And nominal account,
Ma'am,
bank
what is
charges.
a bank draft?
Yes. No, bank draft is represented by
Ma'am, what
bank
is a
only.
bank draft?
Hmm?
Is it like a loan?
Bank draft is just like a DD. Demand draft नहीं बनवाते हो. You have to pay sometimes in the school. Demand draft. It's a kind of a negotiable instrument only, kind of a check only.
Okay, ma'am.
Ma'am, so why are the bank charges applicable on that? Is that
Yeah,
usually
bank charges those amount on that the bank draft. See, there are requirement of the the person to whom the charges are to be made. I mean, the payment has to be made. If they need a draft in the form of a draft, so then we give them a bank draft. Okay. See, bank draft will not be dishonored. The check might get dishonored. That is the benefit with the draft. And for that, we have to make extra payment for getting the draft made.
Ma'am, so
कई बार
it's
होता है
something
आपको
like
school में if you have to pay something, they'll ask you, or maybe you see, abhi next year you'll be filling the forms. Then you'll find that many of places you'll have to make a DD, demand draft, and send it to them. Okay, so that for that bank will charge extra.
So, ma'am, how is it different from a check per se? Like,
As I told you, a check will get dishonored. Demand draft, mein first the payer will deposit that amount, and then the bank is going to make that draft. So it is more secure.
yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then coming to April 28. A check of 4,000 due after 1 month, discounted from bank for 3,800. Now, this is again a new concept, banking concept, which you have to understand. And that is the discounting of a check. What do you mean by discounting of a check? Put the heading discounting of a check. What do you mean by discounting of a check? See, sometimes we get post-dated checks. What we get post-dated checks. Okay. Suppose, I have a tenant. Okay. Now, suppose he's paying me a monthly rent of say 50,000 per month. Okay. And to make myself secure, what I'll ask him to do, I'll ask him to give me, say, post-dated checks for a quarter. So he'll give me 3 checks of say 50,000, 50,000, and 50,000 for 3 months. Okay. Now these checks, I'm not going to get them encashed as such. Okay, because see, this money has become due at this point of time. This money next month, I am supposed, because it is post dated. So even if I give it to the banker is not going to give me the money as such. Okay, because according to the date, only the amount will come to me. Now, suppose I want this 50,000 also. So what I'll do, I'll go and request my banker that in any case, this check is of the next month. Next month, this amount will, of course, come to me. But I need the funds now. So what you do is you deduct your commission of yours or some interest and you give me the money. And when that money comes, then it'll be credited to the bank, right? So for some amount of commission or what you call as the discounting charges, okay, so instead of 50,000, he'll say, okay, 49,000, I'll pay you and 1,000 I'll keep for myself. Okay, and then he'll give me 49,000 at this moment because my requirement is now. I need this 49,000 also now. 1,000, he got his discounting charges. And then next month, there's no problem. This check, when it gets honored, then the banker will get his 50,000 full. Okay, so everybody's happy like that. The person who had to make the payment, he is making the payment according to his terms only. Next month, the payment he is making the next month only. I've got my money right now. Banker has got the discounting charges. The only problem arises if this gets dishonored, okay, then the problem will arise because then the banker is going to involve me again. Now here it's not getting dishonored. That is the good part. They're just talking about the discounting charges. So there was a check for 4,000, April 28, may read the transaction again. A check for 4,000 due after 1 month, discounted from the bank for 3,800. So I want the money now. So my banker said, okay, you take 3,800, 200 I'll keep against a check of 4,000. And then next month, 4,000 banker will get. In case he doesn't get next month, that is a different story. Okay, so that is what the concept of discounting a post-dated check is. I'm getting the money right now by paying some discounting charges to the banker. Okay, so the entry for the same would be bank account debit. Now this entry will have to be passed through your checks in hand or through a BR. Okay, bills receivable. So bank account debit, discounting charges account debit, to BR, bills receivable. Okay, ये हमको पहले bill receivable हुआ होगा. That means we must have received a post-dated check earlier. So either you pass the entry through checks in hand or through a BR. Okay, so that amount would be, bank account will be debited by 3,800. Discounting charges would be 200. And my debtor who gave me the charge would have given me a BR, say, of 4,000. Okay, bills receivable is a kind of a post-dated check only, right?
Ma'am, we can also say check receivable.
Yes,
Ma'am, can we also say check receivable instead
we
of?
can also call it checks in hand or check receivable.
Okay.
Okay, this entry were passed for April 28th. April 30th. Received a check from Shyam after banking hours. So if you're receiving a check from Shyam after banking hours, the entry would be passed through checks in hand. Okay, so it will be checks in hand account debit to Shyam 1,000 and 1,000. And when next day when I'll deposit the checks in hand to bank, we'll pass the entry as bank account debit to checks in hand. April 30th. Both sold for cash and half the sale proceeds deposited in the bank. Now you can pass it in two parts or you can pass one entry only. So first I'll make a normal entry for sales and then I'll make a contra entry. So the A entry would be cash account debit to sales account 7,000 and 7,000. And the B entry I'll be making would be a contra entry of depositing the cash into bank. It'll be bank account debit to cash 3,500, 3,500.
So ma'am, we can write this in one entry as well.
Yeah, cash account debit 3,500, bank account debit 3,500 to sales 7,000. Yes.
Yes.
And this manner also A and B. Okay. So if strictly according to the language we go, we'll have to pass A and B. Okay, but otherwise they can be combined. Because it is being done the same day. Okay, had it not been the same day, then in any case, we wouldn't have been able to pass a single entry. Then we will have to pass separate entries only. Because if the dates are different. Okay, so these were some of the banking transactions. Now please go through some examples also, which show you the banking transactions. Okay. You'll become more comfortable in that. Now, see what special entries we have done so far. These special journal entries. Under special journal entries, which we have done so far, the entry for bad debts. Then we did the entry for bad debts recovered. And then we did the entry for banking transactions. Okay. Then we did the banking transactions. Within banking transactions, we've got so many entries of dishonor of the bill and all those things, right? Now, moving on to we are doing special journal entries. So these are the entries which we've already done, Tavishi, and now we are moving on to the fourth entry, and that is the transactions relating to goods. Okay, so these are the special entries where just put the heading special entries relating to goods. Now see, in general, bachon, so far we have learned that purchases is our expense. It is revenue expenditure, right? And we debit purchases. Purchase return, we credit purchase return. Okay, so this is the normal rule we have learned, is that purchases account is debited. And why? Because it is an expense. And we know according to our clear rule that expenses are debited, right? Expenses and assets are debited. So assets is our capital expenditure. E stands for expenses, which is our revenue expenditure, which are debited. Okay. In nominal account also we have seen that expenses are debited and incomes are credited. Right. Now these are special entries. Why are these special entries relating to goods? Because here we'll see that purchases account will be credited. And that is why we call these entries as special entries. Because in general, the rule is very evident that purchases being expense should be debited. Now, why? Why should purchases be credited? So these are the special circumstances where we will have to credit purchases. Okay. In this, the first one is goods given as charity or donation. It's given as charity or donation. Now suppose I'm into apparel business. I have a boutique, okay, where the dresses are being manufactured, right? Now, what I do is I have some, some dresses which I give, say, to an orphanage, okay? So those dresses which are given to this orphanage is basically charity or donation. Okay, so that is also an expense. So we are going to debit that account. So donation account or charity account debit. And to that extent, I'll have to credit my purchases account because my purchases account is going down. This is not the expense relating to my goods. I mean, I'm not using it for the business purpose. I'm donating it. Okay. So these are basically non-operating expenses. Charity and donations are, please remember, these are non-operating expenses, not relating to my operations. Okay. See, if I want to compare my business with another competitor's business. So this expense is not a compulsion. Okay. It was just because I wanted to donate. So I donated. Does it affect my operations? No. I mean, if somebody is comparing that who is running business more efficiently, then should this expense be counted in that efficiency part? No, this should not be, because this is not operations ka part. This is just, a person made a donation or charity, okay, out of, just empathy and not relating to the operations. So this is what we call as non-operating expense, right? So this is an expense, so debited. And what should be credited is purchases because my goods are being given. Okay, so what did I give? I did give the goods as charity or donation, the dresses as charity or donation. So the goods will be credited purchases account. Okay. Even if you're giving, suppose I'm giving dresses to my staff. Okay, so it'll be staff expenses account debit too. What will be credited? Purchases will be credited. So whenever we are giving away goods for charity or donations, it will be purchases will be credited. Okay. Within that, we have the next transaction as you'd be able to form this journal entry yourselves. Goods given as free samples. Goods given as free samples. Now, many a times we get, with the newspaper, we get shampoo pouch. Okay. Or maybe, we get some medicines or some, or some new cream which is launched in the market as a free gift. Right? Those are the free samples which are distributed by the businesses to promote their business. Right? So that is basically a marketing expense. Okay. Suppose a cream manufacturing company is distributing cream, small sachet of cream, okay, as free sample. So that is what marketing expense or advertising expense. Okay. So the entry would be advertising expenses account debit. Credit किसे करेंगे? Purchases account, right? You have been able to form the entries yourself to purchases account. So whenever the goods are involved in which we are dealing, our main item of trade, then you have to be careful. Okay, goods given for charity, goods given away as free samples, goods given as prizes. इसमें ये भी हो सकता है that I'm honoring, say, the students of my staff who have scored well. I'm giving blazers to them. Okay, so that would be again kind of price expenses account debit to purchases. Purchases will be credited, right? So whenever we are
Excuse me, ma'am.
talking about, yes.
Ma'am, why do we write advertising expenses account? Can't it just be advertising account debited?
Yes. Okay, but yeah, the more meaningful name would be advertising expenses. Otherwise, it can be advertising also. It can be marketing expenses. It can be sales promotion expenses account debit to purchases account. No problem. Okay, once you have named an account over here, then when you're making ledger, if you're making purchases account, then whatever name you have used here, Tavishi, the same name should be used there. That is the rule. यहाँ पे you can put it as sales promotion expenses or marketing expenses. Whatever account name you want to give, that should be debited. Once you have named it as such, then when you're making purchases account, a purchases account जब हम बनाएंगे T format account में, we have to, it will be put on the credit side of the purchases account because purchases account is being credited. And on the credit side, what name we will put? We will be putting the name of the other account. That is the advertisement expense. Okay, so if here Tavishi you're using the word sales promotion expenses, then in purchases account on the credit side, you're going to write by sales promotion expenses or by marketing expenses. Clear, Tavishi?
Yes.
Everyone? Okay. So whatever name you want to give, that's fine. Okay, but once you have given a particular name, then the ledger account should be made with that name. Okay, next, this is very important. Loss of goods by theft or fire or any other natural calamity. Okay. Loss of goods, this we call as loss of goods or loss of stock. Loss of stock or loss of goods. Okay. Now see, there are some normal losses, there are some abnormal losses. For example, I'm into a business, say painting industry. My paints and thinner and all that's used. Now some items are, they get evaporated very quickly. Okay, so that is a normal loss. We know that this will happen, that 10 liter may say 500 ml will get evaporated. Okay, we know that loss will happen. That's a normal loss. Abnormal loss would be there was a fire due to which the loss got, the stock got damaged. Okay, so that is what we call as an abnormal loss. Okay, so we're talking about those abnormal losses over here. So loss of stock by theft or fire. In this, Bacho, we have to see whether they were insured or not. So there can be two possibilities, that goods were insured, his stock was insured, or stock was uninsured. Stock was insured or stock was uninsured. Now see, we have to pass a number of entries over here and try to understand. Now, when there is loss of stock, that is a loss for us. Losses are debited. Nominal account rule, losses are debited or expenses are debited if you go by modern classification. So first entry we'd like would be loss by fire account debit, loss by fire or loss by theft, जो भी आपको दे रखा है question में, account debit. Two, purchases account. First would be that entry. Suppose 10,000 ka stock is lost. Now this stock was insured up to 60%. So 60% who's going to bear? The insurance company. This will be borne by insurance company. Insurance company will give us this much claim. And the remaining 40% who's going to bear for us? Ourselves. Okay. So if 40% was uninsured, 40% was uninsured, let's say, then whose loss is it? It is our loss. Right? So if I talk about this 10,000 and 6,000, suppose the insurance company is going to pay me and remaining 4,000 would be my loss. Okay, so here the second entry, see the second entry, how we're going to pass it. This loss by fire, whatever is our loss, will be transferred to the profit and loss account, and the remaining will be claimed from the insurance company. So here, the second entry which you have to write. Now here you'll find that there is some difference in the book. Okay, if you're going by T.S. Grewal, there's a little bit different because this is how I do it. Okay. So the next entry which we are going to put, the amount of loss which we are going to transfer to the insurance company would be only 60%. So the next entry would be insurance company account debit to loss by fire or theft. Suppose it is 60%. So the 60% I'm crediting again. See, I debited it over here. Now I'm crediting. Why? Because I'm transferring this loss to the insurance company. Okay, 6,000 and 6,000. And what would be the narration for this? Insured amount transferred to insurance company. Okay, or insurance claim transferred to insurance company, whatever our claim is, 60% claim. Okay. Now, when the insurance company accepts the claim, okay, insurance company claim accepted, you can write, or insurance claim transferred to insurance company, you can write. Okay, you can also write 60% claim accepted by insurance company. Whatever you find more logical that you can write, whatever language you feel comfortable with. So 60% of the claim accepted by the insurance company. So that much we have made insurance company our debtor. Insurance company is going to pay us. And this much loss I've transferred it to them. And then when they actually pay the amount, then we pass the third entry. And that is bank account debit to insurance company. Obviously, they'll pay us 6,000. Okay. And this would be being claim received from insurance company. Write the narration along with the transaction, Priyanka. Now, what is the difference between B and C entry? Here, the claim is being received, and in B entry, the claim is being accepted. First, the claim is accepted, and then it is received. Okay, so this would be, the claim would be, here
Ma'am,
the claim is being accepted. Yes.
ma'am, like sometimes we hear that insurance claim, like they don't give you the money for insurance for whatever reason. So will there be any such transaction for an event like this?
That the insurance company didn't pay anything.
Yeah, like sometimes they don't approve your claim or something like that, right?
So if they don't pay us, then the whole loss will be ours only. Okay, then we won't be able to transfer any. See, if this is 0, then this would be 100% would be our loss. Then we won't be able to pass this B entry. Then only first entry will be passing,
Okay.
right? So here you can directly debit profit and loss account. Okay. Remaining 40,000. If you want to pass the entry for the remaining 40,000 D entry, we can pass profit and loss account debit to loss by theft or fire. The remaining 4,000. Okay. Being 40% loss of uninsured stock transferred. TFD means transferred to profit and loss account. Next Tuesday, we are having our test of journal. Okay, coming Tuesday. So that you get Sunday for your preparation. Okay, so next Tuesday, we have the test of profit and loss account debit to, what happened? It is getting discharged. Wait. Loose. It's getting discharged. It was not getting charged. The pin was loose. Okay, clear? Yes, only journal is all this kind of journal entries only. So the test of journals or journal entries. Then, so is it clear? So suppose let's take one more case. Question. There was loss of stock by fire, rupees 15,000. There was no insurance stock. There was no insurance to stock. Past necessary journal entries. Everybody, please try to pass the necessary journal entries. There was no insurance only. Pass the journal entries, then I'll give you the answers. You can check it. Those who are not confident of the journal entries may just use pencil to pass the journal entries, but please try to pass the journal entry for yourself. Okay. Okay. So no, here we'll have to pass 2 entries. Okay. So Parnika, would you tell me the first entry?
Loss of goods by fire account debited.
Hmm.
To cash.
लॉस बाय थेफ्ट स्टॉक का हुआ है, कैश कैसे बाहर चला गया बेटा? कैश थोड़े जल गया.
Two purchases.
Two
Purchases?
Yes, yes. Two purchases account. Correct. So there's one of the special entries where we have to credit purchases. Okay. So how much was the loss? 15,000. Now how much was insured? Nothing. So will insurance company, does it make sense to even making a claim to them and then waiting whether they accept or not, and then if they accept, whether they pay or not? No. So this is my own loss. Okay. So obviously the whole loss 100% is mine. So P&L account debit to loss by theft or fire. Okay. And amount is 15,000 and 15,000. Now suppose in this above question only, I'm adding that 20% stock was uninsured. Insurance company accepted the claim for 80%. Then what will be the entries? First entry will remain the same. Okay, don't pass that entry again. A will remain the same. What about B? And what about the C entry? A will remain the same, bachcho. Loss by theft to purchases account. What will be the B entry? Okay, try to pass it for yourself. Then I'll ask somebody. Okay. So these two entries, you have to stop here. Don't pass that entry of cash account debit to insurance company. That entry, if you have passed, just cancel it. Why? Because I told you that only the claim was accepted. I didn't talk about the claim being paid. So you have to stop at this B entry where this claim is being accepted. Claim being accepted and claim being paid are two different stages. First, the claim is accepted and then the claim is paid later. So unless and until it is given to us specifically that the claim was paid, we are not going to we may pass the entry for receiving the claim. Suppose another situation, if I give 80% claim was accepted and paid by insurance company. Then the next entry which you're going to pass, the D entry, additional entry, the above will remain the same. And the D additional entry would be, it would be cash or bank account debit to insurance company account. And that would be 12,000 and 12,000. So you see, बच्चों यहाँ पे insurance company को अपना debtor बनाया और यहाँ पे insurance company को credit कर दिया. Okay, so when the insurance company is accepting the claim, insurance company gets debited, and when they're finally paying the claim, they'll again get credited. So insurance company is cancelled. Ultimately, what entry you're having at the end is bank account debit to loss by fire. But then you have to go through this insurance company wala process. Okay. So this is one of the important transaction. ये पक्का से आपके एग्जाम में स्कूल में आएगा लॉस बाय फायर का क्वेश्चन आना ही आना है. ठीक है. So you have to very carefully read the language of the question, that what entry they are asking. Are they asking the entry for just loss by fire, in which you have to credit purchases and debit loss by fire? And then where they're talking about the claim being accepted by the insurance company, the claim being paid by the insurance company, and the remaining loss being transferred to our profit and loss account. So these are the different stages of this loss by fire or theft or any other natural calamity, maybe earthquake or something. Then we have the next entry, which is 7th one, relating to goods. Goods withdrawn for personal use. Okay, so this I had discussed earlier also when we are talking about drawings, because drawings can be in form of cash or kind. When I withdraw cash from the business, we have the entry as drawings account debit to cash. If I withdraw through check, the entry would be drawings account debit to bank. And if I'm withdrawing goods from my business, apparel business here, 5 dresses I take for myself worth 10,000. What would be the entry? Very good. Drawings account to debit hona hi hona hai. These special entries relating to goods, what is to be credited? Purchases account. So you have to remember these special entries relating to goods. What all we have done? Charity and donation, goods given for charity and donation, or maybe prize as a prize money. Goods given as free samples. Goods lost by fire or theft or any other natural calamity. Goods withdrawn for personal use. So drawings account debit to purchases account. Okay. And 10,000 and 10,000. And see, all these entries are passed at the cost price, but all these special entries relating to purchases will be passed at the cost price. Because see, I'm not going to charge myself the profit, okay? Or dress worth 10,000. Maybe the selling price might be 15,000 in the market. But obviously, I'll withdraw at the cost price only. I'm not going to make profit out of myself only. Right? Doesn't make sense. So these entries, all these special entries relating to goods where we are crediting purchases, these are passed at the cost price only. Even the donation and charity, all those at the cost price. Suppose the goods are used for construction of own assets. Just put 8. Goods used for construction of assets, not own assets, I mean assets, business assets. Suppose I'm into business of cement, okay? I deal in cement industry, I'm into cement industry. Okay, now I have to construct my own office building. I use my own cement. Okay, so using my own cement, just give the example, using own cement, constructed office building. Or maybe we are into furniture business and we are furnishing our own office, using our own furniture. Okay, so then what the entry pass would be, your asset is being constructed. So when assets increases, we debit assets with that name. So office building account debit. What do we credit? Purchases account. Yes. Now you all have to purchases account. Okay, देखो अब entries आप लोग खुद ही pass करने लगे. You have been able to make the entries because the accounting is all about making the entries. उसके बाद तो it will become, you know, posting the entry into the ledger is a very clerical thing. Which account is being debited, but the main thing is you should be able to frame the entries. Then the further procedure would be easy. So office building account debit because asset being constructed. Or suppose I'm into, as I told you, I'm furnishing my office using my own furniture. I'm into furniture industry only. So it'll be office furniture account debit to purchases. Okay. Okay. So let's start doing the questions relating to the goods, and then if we encounter any other special transaction, we'll be writing that. Come to question number 8, bachcho. Question 8, page number 8.57. I hope everybody has the question. If not, let me know. Okay, so Vidita, in all these special entries, the effect is on goods. Your goods are being used everywhere. You will find that all these transactions which we did, there is similarity. The goods are being used for some other purpose than our business. So that is why we are reducing that expense of ours by crediting purchases. Purchase is an expense. When we debit purchase, we are debiting the expense. But when we're using these purchases for some other purpose, then we are transferring that expense to that other account. Like my office building is being constructed using my own cement. Okay? So that expense becomes my capital expenditure in the form of office building. Question number 8, draw the format of the journal quickly. So we have journal format. In the bookshop, first line we write in the bookshop. Now the name is not given, so we're just going to write it that way. So here, this is my particulars column, small ledger folio column, which we actually don't use. And then 2 columns for your debit and credit. And then this is my right-hand side of the page. Again, I'm drawing the date column, which is not given, which is given. So we have the date column. So again, I'm drawing a date column. I'm using 2 sheets. Don't make these all columns on 1 sheet only. So first is date, the transaction particulars. This is your ledger folio, debit amount and the credit amount. And then the next page of mine is date, particulars, ledger folio, debit amount and the credit amount. So first of all, we have April 1 transaction 2024. Goods withdrawn by owner for personal use. Okay, one by one, keep on answering the questions. Akriti, the first one.
Yes, ma'am. Good. Drawings account debited to purchases account.
Perfect. Drawings account debited to purchases account.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
these are the special items where purchases will be credited, being goods withdrawn for personal use. I'm not writing the narration. April 2, Atri. Aditya,
Yes, ma'am. So goods distributed as sample. So that would be, I guess, free sample account to purchases account.
okay, can we use a better name?
I forgot the name. I don't know. I guess sample account or something.
What name did I give, Aditya? You're speaking out your own entry. Google from somewhere or what? Tell according to what we have done. See what I made you write.
Ma'am, I forgot. I'm just saying like.
You've forgotten, but you can flip the pages, no? Are you writing it or not, Aditya, the entries? Are you writing what is being written on the screen?
Ma'am, I was writing it, but I didn't write that one.
Okay, you have written it, no? आदित्य उसी पेज पे जाओ और मुझे बताओ मैंने क्या लिखवाई एंट्री मैंने जो लिखवाई वो मुझे नाम बता दो
Ma'am, I didn't write that.
You didn't write that. So what all did you write?
Ma'am, I wrote the questions, but I didn't write the. Wait one second.
Aditya, what have you written? What have you not written? How do I know? Whatever is there on the screen, you have to write without fail. लिखते जाओ. समझ में आ रहा नहीं है लिखते तो जाना ही है. ठीक है और राइटिंग ऐसी राइटिंग में लिखना आदित्य कि बाद में खुद को समझ में आ जाए कि लिखा क्या है मैंने. Okay, just keep on writing and writing in a somewhat legible handwriting. ऐसा नहीं हो कि खुद की writing खुद को ही नहीं समझ. Okay, Aditya. So please do that, and everybody is supposed to take down whatever is there on the screen, and please take your class in a very peaceful environment. Close the door. ask anybody not to disturb. Just ask your mom that nobody should disturb you, because all these concepts are related. बच्चों ये पूरा base आपका form हो रहा है. Once you get stuck up here, it will be difficult. Okay, Aditya, so we need to jot down everything which is there on the screen in the class. If you have not been able to write it, let me know, send a message on the chat. Students send me that, ma'am, please show that slide again. Go to the previous slide, ma'am. So make sure that you're writing everything. Okay, here we have to write advertising expenses or marketing expenses or sales promotion expenses or free sample expenses. Any account name would be okay, no problem. Advertising expenses account debit. 2, credit what, Aditya?
Purchases.
Purchases account. Purchases account. Okay, purchases account. Put that S also. Amount would be 500 and 500. Okay, meanwhile, I think most of you have passed the remaining entries also. All done. The entire question done. Very good. Credit, oh yeah, credit aspect is purchases. Fine. Okay, सब में credit aspect to purchases होगा. You have to think of the debit aspect only. Okay, so Aditya, it's not very difficult. The only thing is थोड़ा सा ध्यान रखोगे तो आराम से हो जाएंगे entries. April 3. Goods given as charity. Yeah, who's next turn? Okay. Ananya.
Yes, ma'am. Goods given in charity, it will be charity account debited 300 rupees to purchases account 300 rupees, and narration will be goods given in charity.
Perfect. Okay, so that is charity account debit to purchases account, goods given as charity, the narration, and the amount also she said. Okay, number 4. Yes, Anvesha. Timber used for making office furniture. Timber is basically your wood and all. Okay.
This
that's
is the only transaction I have an issue, and I finished the rest of the question, but only
Okay,
transaction I have
okay,
an
no
issue.
problem. It'll be furniture account debit. Okay, office furniture. Let's call it office furniture. Okay, so this was the last one, Anvesha, we discussed. Goods used for construction of assets. Okay, so like we
Yes,
are
ma'am.
into cement business, we're using our own cement to construct our own office building. Or we are into furniture business and we're using our own furniture to construct furniture to furnish our office. Or maybe suppose we are into computer industry, you know, we are into selling and purchase of computers, and we are, just making the computer, using the computers for our own office purpose. Okay, so those would be using the goods for construction of own assets. So it will be office furniture account debit to purchases. Okay, office furniture account debit. This was the last thing, furniture account debit to purchases account. And the amount would be 5,000 and 5,000. Next one, Arhan. Mic not working. Ashmit. Isha.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, it will be stock lost by fire account debit and to purchases account.
Yes. So goods, loss of goods by fire, whatever account name you want to put. Loss of goods by fire account debit to purchases account. Perfect. To purchases account. And the amount would be 3,500, 3,500. Transit means when they are being delivered from one place to another place, they get destroyed. Okay, suppose you're dealing in crockery or something, and you're sending, you bought a courier, your supplier is somewhere in south and you're getting the delivery north. Okay, so some breakage might be there. So that is what you call as loss of goods in transit. Goods lost in transit. So loss of goods in transit, loss of goods in transit account debit to purchases account.
Ma'am, there won't be a second entry. Ma'am, like the P&L account entry.
Yes, there'll be the second entry also. Yes, correct. A and B, because Priyanka asked me the transit ka meaning, so I started explaining that. So the second entry would be P&L account debit to loss of goods by fire. Whatever account name you have used in this, the same account name you're going to use in the second entry. Okay, you have the liberty to have change of words in the first entry, but then whatever you have used, the same account name you have to credit in the second entry. Loss by fire. I hope all of you can understand what is written on the screen, though very untidily I've written it. Okay. Correct, Ashmit. Please, Ashmit and Aran, get your mic prepared. Then the transactions relating to fixed assets. So there's a new topic, transactions relating to fixed assets. So we have done so far our bad debts recovered. Then we talked about the banking transactions. Then we talked about transactions relating to goods, and now we're talking about the transactions relating to the fixed assets. Okay. So here we have these are simple. Okay. So if you're buying the fixed assets on cash, okay. So if it is, this is your 9th transaction which we're doing. Purchase of assets, fixed assets through cash or check. We know the entry very well. We have to use the name of the assets. If you're purchasing refrigerator, the refrigerator account debit. If you're purchasing, printer, car, land, building, computer. Okay, whatever the asset is, that asset name will be debited. So it will be asset account debited, machinery, whatever the name of the asset. And if through cash or through bank, or if we are purchasing it on credit, then it will become creditor. Or we call this person the vendor. Okay. Or maybe some asset I'm purchasing, say of 1 lakh the asset is. I'm making 10,000 payment through cash. Okay, 20,000 payment through check, and remaining 70,000 I'll pay 1 month later. 1 month later. Then how we are going to pass the entry? Suppose I'm purchasing, this is my computer. Okay, so the entry would be computer account debit. Keep on writing, computer account debit to cash. So computer is of total 1 lakh rupees. How much cash I'm paying? 10,000 to, and suppose I'm purchasing it from, the name of that person is Compu Limited. Okay, from Compu Limited, I'm purchasing it to bank, 20,000. And the remaining, he becomes a vendor. The vendor name is Compu Limited. 70,000. So the name of the vendor will be credited. So he'll become a creditor basically. Now the next transaction is a complicated and an important one. This is 9A, purchase of asset. And now we're talking about the sale of asset. Okay. Now, previous slide. Okay. Sale of fixed asset. Keep on writing. Just write the formula. BV stands for book value. Book value is the value of the asset in our books, the depreciated value, right? And selling price is, of course, the price at which we are selling it. Just carefully write this entry, the debit and the credit aspect. And then I'll, with the help of example, I'll tell you. Now see, my fixed asset when it's sold, when I purchase fixed asset, if we apply clear the rule, we know asset when increases will be debited and when it decreases will be credited. So when we sell asset should be credited. Okay, asset should be credited. And asset is credited at book value. Please write book value over here. Asset is credited at the book value. The value which is there in our books, the depreciated value. Okay. And then either it will be gain, loss on sale, or it will be gain on sale. And either of them will be there in the entry. Now gain will be credited, loss will be debited. That is also very clear. Sometimes you have even exchange of assets. Suppose I purchase a new car, so I give my old car in exchange, and they'll give me the balance value. So they'll give me some exchange value, right? So that is taken as the selling price of that asset. जो भी exchange value होता है जब आप कार नहीं खरीदने जाते हो, you can give your old car for exchange. Okay. Now, suppose I have an asset. Book value of asset is suppose 50,000. Okay. Sold it for 60,000. Can you give me the entry, Bachu? It will be cash account debit 60,000. 2. That asset is suppose an old car. Okay. Car. 2. Car account. Book value. This is the book value. Book value पे credit हो जाएगा 50,000. To gain on sale. Please keep on writing these questions. Question 1 of this asset. Does anybody has any other join class? Can we extend the class for 10 minutes? Anybody having some issue? Nobody? So gain on sale would be 10,000. This is a simple entry. See, gain on sale, we could, this is the selling price. This is the book value. So if my book value is less than the selling price, in my books, the value is 50,000. I'm getting in the market 60,000. I'm very more than happy. Right? And how do we get the book value? Do you remember the formula for book value? Book value. Can somebody tell me? Yes, Arhan, tell me the formula. Very good. Yes. Okay. Want to say something else? Okay. Okay. Students have other classes. Okay. So I'll wind up the class over here. Tavishi also has a class. Okay. So we'll wind up the class over here. We'll continue with this concept in the next class. Okay. Meanwhile, please go through the illustrations, the banking transactions, the transactions relating to your goods, and the normal transactions, the bed debts recovered, all those transactions. Please keep on revising. Next Tuesday, we have a test of journal. Okay. So see you on Thursday now. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yes, very good. Original cost minus total depreciation till date.